we want to think about this skull here, this skull right here. What I need to do is explore some texturing workflows because I need to decide if I actually am going to get Substance Painter back. As much as I don't want to. Oh, hello, Shaktriana and Ariso. Hello, welcome, welcome. Haven't watched in a while. What are we doing today? We're just going to be farting around with InstaMat here because I canceled all my Adobe subscriptions. And I'm sitting here thinking I still might want Substance Painter. As much as I don't want to. It is a good program. But we do have InstaMat here. And my hope is the baking on InstaMat really sucks. It crashes all the time. But I can bake in Substance and then take those maps into here. So that's kind of my thought here, is that I'm going to actually just bake in Blender and then do the texturing in InstaMat because the texturing should be fine. Substance Painter is Adobe. Yes, unfortunately. Used to not be. They got bought 6 years ago, something like that. Before we do any baking, though, I would like to understand a little bit more about texturing. So now I can make a layer. We'll do a multi-channel layer. Right now, I can just see the normal map. Why is that? Back faces, environment. Yeah, I'm actually going to turn off the environment. I need to close my blinds really quick. 1 sec. Just a little too bright. So it's a triplanar projection of what? What am I projecting with this layer projection? Looked in the software every 2 years, and always I shy away from the moment I saw the price tag. It is a good program. It is worth the money for that software, except that it's Adobe. I have no problem with Substance Painter. I have every problem with the company. There we go, a generator. Let's do dirt. All right, interesting. Ooh, wow, that's weird. Not too bad. See, I'm just thinking it's like I could probably do everything just in Blender. I'd have to rely on cycles, or at least baking. I might do that. Because again, the baking stuff is garbage in here. For some reason, it just always breaks the bake. Layering, project editor, package management, settings, grunge. So I made this dirt layer. And then I created a mask for that layer, I suppose. So if I change this color, it should change the color of these. Right? Like I should be seeing some changes right now. Ah. Oh, okay. So the mask can affect different channels. That's actually pretty cool. So you can have a layer with properties and a mask for the different channels as well. You can have a per channel mask. Pretty cool. It still seems to be the wrong color though. It should be green or something, but we're definitely not adjusting the height. Oh, we can use different dirt textures. Let's do cracked. Actually, that does look pretty good. Save that. And then, interesting. Again, I don't know why the color's not different though. This layer has a distinct configuration for each layer channel. Hello, Bloody Wolf. 619, welcome. Welcome. We're working on some texturing for our skull here. Well, we're checking out InstaMat, really, because I need a Substance Painter alternative. So, we're exploring right now. Okay, I must not be viewing the full. I must not actually be viewing the whole thing because I should see the color changing. But right now I only see the height changing, so I must be stuck in a height view or something. Let me get rid of this, I guess. Delete. I just have this cracked layer. I delete that. All right, now I can see the green. Oh, okay, okay. This is not a mask. I'm not creating a mask here. I'm creating a new paint layer on top of this. Gotcha. Okay, okay. That makes more sense. Not like substance, not a mask. So what I'd want to do instead is delete this, add a mask, projected mask, and triplanar repeat. We could use a different material here. Let's do grunge or crack noise. Interesting. So am I just searching the images folder here? Yeah, okay. So the search isn't global, it's just for what I have selected. So we could do something like cracked again. Okay, and now I'm actually doing the thing I wanted to do. So before I had added a paint layer. All right, not bad. I'm a data engineer. I don't know anything about modeling, texturing, sculpting, anything similar with Blender or Unity. I could barely upload my purchased avatars to VRC. I'm looking to learn. Well, I appreciate you coming by. And if you don't mind me doing a little bit of self-promotion, I actually am opening up classes in 2 weeks for teaching people how to make avatars. So I can just share this really quick if you don't mind. Actually, let me share the YouTube video. That'll be a little bit more informative. I spent yesterday making a little trailer for my classes. That'd be great. Absolutely. I mean, I appreciate you even being interested. And thank you for the follow. Super appreciated. Your class, what time is it based on? I don't know what Central Time meant. Good question. And thank you also for being interested, Sean. So I will update that then. But Central Time is Texas time. So Central is the let me see, Central Time Zone. So right now it's 8:30, 8:33, and that's in here. So this range right here. And let me give you that video. Shareable link, and here's the link to my class promotion, and it has the link to the signups as well in the YouTube channel. Let me see. Maybe maybe I should use a time zone comparison. Let's see. Time zone converter. So if let's do a meeting planner. So I'm in Austin, and That's just the general time. So if I put in something like, I don't know, Belgium, or, yeah, let's just say London. Show timetable. Okay, that's better. This should be a better comparison. So I will share this here, and that should give a clearer breakdown of when to meet up. And I am actually going to include that in my in the form itself, because I think otherwise it's just going to be mildly confusing. Mentorship, intro to avatar creation, and we'll go here and do which class time frame do you prefer? Central. And this this link will use this link to compare your time zone. I'm going to copy that. Actually, should have just link. Okay. And there we go. Okay, so that's updated now. And then we'll also do the advanced avatar creation. And use this link to compare time zones. What? This to compare time zones. I should probably have put that I'm in. No, I have it right there. Okay. Okay. Good. All right, that should work. But again, appreciate your interest. Thank you so much for being interested and checking out my course and stuff. Please let me know if you have any questions. I don't want to leave any of you confusion and to instill any confusion. I need Discord converter. I mean, there might be an add-on out there. That's funny. There's a lot of good details in here. Look at that. All right, I'm liking this a lot more now. So I have the multi-channel layer. Okay, so this is the projection settings, and then we've got the layer settings. I can adjust the color. So I'll do something maybe like a dark brown or something. I don't like this. A little less saturated, a little lighter, something like that. Okay, well, that's good. Okay, but now what we still need our baked maps, because we won't be able to get that level of realism we're actually looking for without a correct normal map and a correct ambient occlusion, curvature, etc. So we do have to open this up in Blender. Save change before closing. Don't save. Products. Skull. Painting version. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so that's the high poly right there. Got the low poly right here. And this is the cage. Why do I have two? Oh, I see. Okay, I get it. I get it. Yeah, okay, here we go. So what I'll want to do is create a duplicate collection. Oof. Dense. Let me undo that. Let me go into the high poly, and we're going to make a new copy called skull high poly. Copy this to selected. And we're going to change the viewport display so I can get a better idea of what I'm working with. Just the top teeth? What about my bottom teeth? What about my bottom teeth? Where are these? There we go. Okay. Do you think that by taking the introductory avatar creation class, I'll be able to take the avatars I purchase and edit them however I prefer? It's gonna give you a clear idea. So the main things you'll be learning, and maybe I should update the sign up sheet with it. Well, actually, no, right here. So I do have this in here, but modeling is kind of the core foundation of making anything in Blender. So if you wanted to edit a mesh, so you have a character and you want to move them around and stuff, that will give you a good idea of how to edit the body. UV unwrapping and painting, those two are very intricately related. So it's like understanding those will allow you to get insight into how you can edit textures. So like if you want to add tattoos or something, or change the skin color, and how to change the textures however you would like. That'd be a good tool there. And unwrapping is very important to make sure you're not breaking things if you're just editing. Rigging is rigging's kind of the fundamental way in which meshes deform and move. So like just like my hands are bending here, that's rigging, right? We have a skeleton that moves our finger bones, our finger skin and muscle really, and that's what rigging does. So if you wanted to take a set of clothing from one character or add a new set of clothing to your current character, that's how you would understand how to take one mesh and attach it to your current avatar. So all of these things will be fundamental understandings of like how you can make if you understand how to make an avatar, you should have a very good insight in how to edit them as well, because it is the same thing. There's no difference. Editing an avatar and making an avatar are the same set of skills. But, you know, having the knowledge, having a clear understanding, there's still that, it's still effort. It's still a lot of time invested to make changes. But if that's what you're looking to do, I definitely think it's worthwhile. I mean, I love doing this kind of work. So for me, it's always great fun. It's like it's as similar as if you wanted to take your own clothes and edit them, right? Like you can understand how to sew, how to cut fabric, things like that, but it's still a skill that you have to practice and gain experience in. And I did not mean to turn that guy off. So now we're looking at the low poly. I'm going to switch this to green. Okay, perfect. And in our low poly, why don't we just try baking it right now? And just see how that works. So I'm stuck at painting in Blender. Sometimes an image just doesn't load. as a texture. That most likely means that your UV maps are different than you expect. So for this skull here, if I go to UV editing, you can see in here, well, let me remove the texture. I have my UV map for the objects here. So this is my UV map for the whole of my model. And you require a UV map in order to kind of read a texture. So like the skull, or maybe a better example, this is one of the teeth here. And it should just kind of suck it up. Restarted Blender and it works on third try. That seems weird. If you do have an image in Blender and you've changed it or edited it, and you see the file in Blender, you can always reload it here with Alt-R. So if you're looking at an image, you can go to Image, Reload, or just the hotkey Alt-R. That may help. All right, so let's go ahead and bake this out. Now, the interesting thing is that with the EV, I do have to combine everything into one object, or with cycles. That's okay. Anyways, I'll probably take both courses. Heck yeah. Simply because I've always felt attracted to this world, but I'm wanting to add clothes to models who don't have clothes created specifically for them. Well, the cool thing about, if you feel there's a need for clothes for your characters, other people might feel the same way. You can always try to sell your creations, which is a fun part of this whole little wild west of VR. So we're going to make a new version of this file. O3 InstaMat bake. Save. And in our shader, go over here. I'm going to, I guess we have to do this one at a time. That's a little annoying. I really want to do it one at a time, but I guess we have to. Yeah, it should work. Okay. I just like making environments to roam and transfer my skills into Blender instead. Well, eventually I hope to make more courses, like for making materials, shaders, and things like that. Excuse me. And world creation, I'd love to make one of them. I have to make some more worlds for myself before I feel comfortable opening up a course for it, but I am heading that direction. I mean, they share the map. I already have the high poly. I should just be able to bake out a multi-res map. Yeah. Why don't I just do that? So let's hide this. And this. Go back to layout. Switch this to actually be over one frame. Good morning, Sky. Hello. Welcome, welcome. Good morning. We're doing some baking tests for our high poly, or for our InstaMat. We're going to do some exploration of InstaMat today. What I realized is that the texturing stuff in InstaMat's pretty good, but we're pretty much unable to bake things in InstaMat currently. So I'm going to try baking things in Blender and bringing those bakes into InstaMat. Greeting, Dan Sutter. Hello, Val. Welcome. Oh, classes will be live. I do not speak English natively. No, it's difficult for me to maintain a fluid conversation. Do you think I could access the recorded classes? For the classes you sign up for, there will be recordings for each class we do together, and those will be yours. After the class is over, you will have those recordings. Was going to quit Substance, but they offered a free month. I may go back to Substance Painter, depending on how my experiment with InstaMat goes today. I don't want to, but I feel that that's hard to give up. It is a good workflow, and it gets me the results I want, so. But that's just how it goes sometimes. So we're going to get a new image, make it 4K. No alpha, and we'll say stall insta, because we're testing on InstaMat, normal. New image, and I'm going to save this image. I'm going to save it, I guess, in this folder, InstaMat. I don't need RGBA, so I'll leave it out. Okay. Then we do this. InstaMat, I would buy the Steam one. Is that a Blender plugin? It's actually its own program. It's basically a Substance Painter alternative, and it's free for pretty much everyone. They have like a journeyman something, but it's pretty similar. So you got layers and masks, and you can mask things out and stuff. So it seems quite similar, and I'm excited to explore it. But certainly it will be a learning curve. But it's similar. And then it also has Substance Designer-like features, so you can make graphs of for texturing. So it's both Substance Painter and Substance Designer combined, and it's free. So I do think it's worth checking out. Signing up for it was kind of a pain, though. Took me a while to figure it out, longer than I expected. But it is free, and the website's just confusing. I'm gonna get rid of the keyframes here, and we're gonna have to combine everything. So I'm just gonna combine. Maybe not. Let's take these. And I will have to combine them. Can I apply this first? I don't think so. I think I have to apply the multi-res. Yeah, so we'll apply the multi-res. All right, let's combine all these. Apply the multi-res. Apply the mirror. Put back on the multi-res. And then unsubdivide to 6 levels. Or how many was it before? 4 levels. Apply, multi-res, unsubdivide, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Cool. So now I'll actually subdivide up to 6, even though it's not going to change much. But now it matches these ones, find them, onto one object. We have one object now. And we can set the subdivision to 2. Yeah, let's say 2. Okay. And then with this selected, I can go to cycles. We go to bake, and bake from multi-res, and we have normals and displacement. We want the normals. That's the main one. We'll save, select this, and bake. Let me make sure my sampling's not too much. 2. Okay. So with that selected, this selected, bake. Now we have our normal map. Okay. See some edges right there. Some poles. And right here. I don't like that. So we may not use multi-res for baking. Yeah, I can see all these edges right here. Look how harsh that one is. That's sad. Not sure what to do about that. Well, let's just see what it looks like. All right, go to InstaMat. Go in here. All these effects. We've got this. We got packages, assets, image. So these are the ones we baked through InstaMat, and they suck. I can open a resource. So why don't we open up our Blender? No, our textures, InstaMat, the normal, and like this. Did it put it here? Yes. It always saves all my images right here. Good to know. And let me turn this off really quick. Just want to mute this. Okay. So this was originally the normal map we're using, but it sucks. So how do I edit the base textures? Mask, generator, filter, effect, layer group, new layer, this and that. Active material, channel. Add effect, add filter, those are the same options. Save project, new project, show image viewer, show viewport, seed, undo history, viewport settings. No. Package. Okay. I got a bake settings here. Just a JSON file for my settings. We have the images. We got our mesh. If I click this, we got skull. That's the material I'm working on right now, I believe. Yeah, skull. Channels, metadata, parameters, material selection. Here we go. Okay, so it's in material sections. So these are the default ones that were baked in. I'm gonna remove all of them. They're all broken. Okay. And then for the normal tangent, I will use the multi-res one we baked, which looks pretty darn good, actually, except for the seams right here. These little dots. Kind of see them like that. Overall, it's pretty good, but we're getting these kind of odd edges. Generally, that honestly looks amazing. Okay, so Blender baking, is good. But the multi-res baking sucks. Okay, so let's save this image. I'm gonna exit it. And we're gonna make a new one, which I'll call very similarly, skull instead of normal, I'm gonna use displacement. So that's the other thing we can bake with multi-res. Displacement, and I will open it here. I will save it next to this one. And then we're going to bake this one too. Displacement. Bake. Okay. So we still see the edges. We can still see that. I'll have to ask Snartum if I'm just baking something wrong, but it does look better overall. We'll save that. And we're going to go back to InstaMat. Position. There is a displacement option, so let me drag this in. We'll go to our packages. So this is what we can import. We will import it again. Open resource. We will take in the displacement as well. Then I'll go back to parameters and drop in the displacement. Let me get rid of the normal. So the displacement doesn't seem to do anything. I'm assuming it's actually displacing things, which is not particularly useful in this case. But we could put it into a mask, I'm assuming. So if I turn off this mask and we add a new one, UV shell, I guess. Pix UV shell, I don't know what that means. Maybe not. Maybe not that one. We do need a mask. Oh, this masks it by mesh. Interesting. I would just like a image mask, please. Mask builder. What's this do? We could use ambient occlusion, but again, there's no mask to derive that from, so it doesn't do anything. Not what we want. So once again, make a new mask. Mask painting. Yeah, I didn't think so. I want to be able to use the image I just made. Projected mask. Of course, projected mask, but we're projected on the UV. Duh. Okay, put that there. Get rid of that, and then use our displacement. Assets. Search everywhere. Wow, you can use SDFs. Interesting. Oh, here's the package right there. Package displacement. Okay. And we can turn up the contrast. Which is pretty cool. So we could use it for stuff. Hello, Cornfather. Welcome. Oh, interesting. There's just some banding there. Oh, but they have a blur built in. Beautiful. Built-in blur. Amazing. And then we can turn on our other mask. This one I'm going to rename to displacement. So mask this. And then this will be mask cracks. So I think I could do something like linear dodge. And that way we could kind of cut out of the bake or the other way around. Put this up top. Set this to linear dodge. It's also pretty cool, but that and just lower it so we get some just variation in there. Oh, cool. More InstaMat stuff happening, I see. Yes. We are going to be thoroughly exploring how to get rid of Substance Painter. And really it seems that so far InstaMat has everything I would want out of the ability to make textures and like actually paint. But the baking is super broken. Like I have not been able to get the baking working. Which is weird, but whatever. I'll probably make a tutorial for this one because I think Substance Painter needs some competition. All right. Pretty decent, but we still need a better baking setup. So this bums me out about Blender. You have to combine the objects. Is all of the baking broken? Because you bake normal map in Blender and use that to bake the others in InstaMat. For InstaMat, it just crashes. It very consistently crashes every time I try to bake. Anytime I try to bake an image over 4K or more, which is what I would normally want to bake at. But you can bake in Blender and bring everything into InstaMat. It'll take whatever image. It's just because you're just bringing in images into InstaMat. So, no concern there. But I'm going to have to pull this apart to bake it properly. You know what? There's a little clipping right now. Fine. So I've got my low poly skull already. Ooh, excuse me. So we'll make two portions like this. Oops. You still have multi-res on? Wait. Oh, no, this has multi-res on. Gotcha. We'll apply it. Now we can combine. All right, so now we've got the two versions. We've got this version of the skull, which needs to be set to 0. Okay. Something like that. And this guy. If you're wondering why it's so low poly here, that's the power of multi-res. That's the power of multi-res. Okay, so now we can do this, where we've got everything set up in these positions. Let me get rid of the keyframes so nothing moves. We'll make it so I can't select the high poly. And then I've got to we're going to duplicate this whole collection. And this one's going to be our cage. All right. And for the cage, I will make it a wire. That way we can see it floating above. Looks good. Now I want to be able to only select the high poly and the low poly. Oh, right. Okay. Silly. Hmm. Again, what's kind of annoying me about this is that in order to bake, I have to combine everything. That just seems so stupid. I really don't like that. I want to be able to have things be separate. Otherwise, editing them is going to be a huge pain in the butt. But I could use geometry nodes. For Blender baking, you only have the option to do selected to active, which means it relies on your selection order to bake things. You can't just say this collection bake to this collection. You have to be able to select your high poly, then select your low poly. And that means you can only have 2 objects. You could do it one at a time. I wonder if there's a baking add-on.
Everybody, I've been working on a tutorial for texture baking in Blender because it's pretty important for exporting models to other software. Absolutely a make process, and the one I've liked the most is called Simple Bake. You don't know what to do. PBR and cycles baking. PBR baking takes whatever materials we have on a model and puts them into individual PBR maps. Whether we are using other PBR, we only need to change just a few. First are presets, then jagged pixelization.
Hey guys, I'm Alex Pierce, and today we're going to be talking about UV Packmaster and Simple Bake, how to combine multiple.
Hey everybody, I've been working.
Now, I did bake many objects last fall for character clothes. It's too far for me to remember how, though. That's fine. I'm fine. I appreciate it. Appreciate it, though. But that some people still use XNormal. Now, it's an old piece of software, but it was made specifically for baking, so I wonder if it's still relevant.
Hey everyone, in this quick tutorial we're going to take a look at how to export a refined mesh from character data to external 3D software for embedded texture baking. In this case, we're going to use XNormal. In the case that you are using Headshot 2.0 on a computer with more resources, you may want to import a head mesh with a lower poly count towards the table on process. In this scenario, once you've completed the refined mesh step in Headshot and are ready to generate your CC3 Plus character, you can see an option in the normal section to import a high poly model to bake a texture for your low poly model export. This is very useful for getting the best visual results. Low poly mesh will be the 03 refined mesh.obj, then choosing the respective OBJ file. Low definition mesh channel. You can do this by right-clicking and selecting Add Meshes.
Look at that UI. Yeah, very classic. Takes me back. I do miss the really fun UI elements that existed in like the 90s. Like all the different MP3 player type stuff those were fun.
And choosing the respective OBJ file. Low definition mesh will be the 03 refined mesh.obj previously mentioned in the HS folder. In the baking options, you'll want to ensure that the file output format is set to PNG. Pure normal map C, that was wrapped in a shot. I'm choosing from.
All right. I mean that looks pretty fucking simple. I don't think it gets any simpler than that. So let's do it. Latest version operating system. What am I on? Windows 10. Okay. All right. Finish. This will be a lot easier if I can just export. No. Oh, okay. I was like, oh no. But all right. RAM. What's that? Oh wow. Whew, okay, there's a lot to this. Or there's a lot you can do with this, but it seems pretty simple here. All right, so let's go ahead and just start exporting. Actually, I don't need to export because I have already done that. My products. I have my skull, substance painter. I have all the different assets right here. Cage, high poly, and skull. Let's copy this path. X normal. So we want to add some files. So this one is which one are we looking at right now? High definition, high poly, and low poly. This one. We want to say use cage. Cage. Okay, yeah. Interesting. Baking options. We'll want 4K. 4K. We want a normal map. Ambient occlusion. Convexity. What an interesting option. Why don't we just start with simple stuff? We'll do that. We have a curvature. Yeah, curvature is always useful. Look, Lark. Sure. Output file. We'll go up one. Textures. And we'll make another one for X normal. File name. Doll. X normal. Save. Actually, it's saving it as a BMP file. Can you be a PNG, please? I don't think it saved my file name. That's okay. No, it did. Okay. Sure. Let me close Blender just in case. An InstaMat. Is saving the files longer than rendering? Weird. I'm gonna make some coffee. Oh, interesting. I mean, that looks pretty fucking high quality, honestly. That actually looks better than Substance Painter bakes. Look at how crispy that is. Wow. Huh. Looks like it's being eaten. I mean, this is like tech gore. It's like a subreddit like that. Very cool though. That genuinely looks much higher quality. Can I zoom in on this? Is that the curvature map? No, that must be the ambient occlusion. It has to be. Wow, exciting. First time I see it working. Very interesting. Yeah, this is pretty interesting. And I just did the standard CPU. I think I can use my graphics card too. So do I look straight out 2005? 100%. 100%. So long ago. So long ago. It really is. There's like a little bit of banding I see, but I can't tell if that's my mesh or not. Interesting though. It's cool. It's definitely going to be what I use now. Oh, copy. Eye sockets are pretty dark. Definitely the ambient occlusion. It has to be. Has to be. But it looks really clean. I feel like this is a much higher quality ambient occlusion. This is a map rendering. Exactly. Yeah. It's X normal. Oh, hello, Riso. Welcome. But we're looking into Substance Painter alternatives. So I think X normal plus InstaMat is the solution. Whoa, what's this? It's the curvature? Never seen a curvature map like this. Trying to get rid of Adobe A? Pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah, I think I mean honestly, I'll just save a very significant amount of money each year. Plus, this makes me feel like a wizard. That's some funky colors. It really is. Yeah. I don't know what to make of that one. It is the curvature, though. I don't know. I'll have to pull that one into Krita and see what to make of it. Okay, that should be it. I think that's everything. Close. All right. Now we've got our maps. Oh, and they have alpha too. So let's go InstaMat again. Shame the algorithmic decided to get bought by Adobe. That was their demise, 100%. I mean, I don't really blame them. I blame Adobe fumbling the ball. I'd rather rest the blame on Adobe. Like, they made a good product and they probably sold it for an insane amount of money. I can't really blame them for that. But also, I wish they still owned it. I would guess that they still wish they owned it. Not their fault 100%. The problem with Adobe is that it's run by people who only want money 100%. They gotta grow. They just can't do anything but grow. Grow profits, grow this and that. It's not sustainable. You want people to spend money, make good products. Don't worry about extracting wealth. Line go up. All right, so let's look here. So we just brought in our textures, and now we can assign them. So this is the ambient occlusion map. Which doesn't seem to have done that much. I was expecting a little bit more from that. Then we'll do the normal. That looks quite good. Maybe the... Let's type that really quick. Did I turn off the ambient occlusion in my viewport? Material AO intensity. Huh. Oh, there is no ambient occlusion channel. That's why. Certainly looks a lot better. Now I feel like my normal map is not on. Okay, weird. If I update the channels, I have to update the channels before I assign them here, it seems. All right, that looks good. That looks really good. Actually, looks really fucking good. That looks better than Substance for sure. Look how crisp those normals are. All right, I'm sold. And a little seam there, just seems like a graphical thing. And then we can turn this back on. Nice. Okay. And then we do also have a curvature map we baked, but I'm not sure how it's going to read it. Didn't seem to do anything with it there. Oh, I think I also have to add. Oh, no. Never mind. Can you do high poly to low poly baking? Theoretically, you can do an InstaMat. It has only crashed for me, though. So that's why I'm using the X normal. Use X normal to bake, InstaMat to texture. Oh yes, the X normal. Yeah, we gave it a high poly map, and we gave it a low poly. Sorry, mesh. I said map. I meant mesh. And also we gave it a cage too. Here, cage file. So got quite a bit of options. Don't know what detail means. Oh, interesting. Cone map. Huh, fun stuff in there. All right. Wow. Yeah, this is fucking weird. This UI. All right. A weird ass UI. Old software for the win. 100%. 100%. It seems like it's still actually being updated quite a bit because they have a Windows 11 version. All right, I'm gonna get rid of our experiments here with the masks, and we're gonna add a new one. UV project. Projected mask on the UV, and I'd like to use my ambient occlusion map that we brought in. Wow, that looks really fucking good. Nice. A noise. And then let's add a new layer on the bottom here. So I can get something on the bottom that doesn't have any roughness. It does have ambient occlusion as well. I would say this looks better than Substance, actually. The combination of X normal and this is high quality. Nice. Okay. So we'll call this base. This will be bone. And then on top of this, we'll add another channel. We'll call this one highlight. And we'll add a mask to it. We'll use the projected mask, UV. And I want to see what our curvature map does when I stick it in here. I guess it's working. A little odd, but it does seem to be working. I want to invert it. And then change the color. Something bright. Contrast can go up. There. I guess this is more, this should be darker. I don't like having to switch back between the projector settings and that's a little annoying. This should just be, I should see all of these. Push down the height, make it nice and dark. Let's give it a little bit of blur. So it's not the highlight, it's more. There aren't many functionalities I'm very used to in Substance, specifically the brushes and dynamic strokes. Did you check that out already? There are brushes. And yeah, let's take a look at them. So, mask, generator, filter, effect. We can add a multi-channel brush layer. And so when I paint, hit that. And can I adjust it afterwards? No, okay, so I'm painting this, and then I can paint the height up or down. Right now I painted the height down. Then we can go in and change the color. Something like that. We have just a brush. We've got an eraser. Gizmo control. Environment. Are there any other brushes? Oh, okay. Well, I clicked this little drop down and now it's lagging. Oh, let's see. There we go. Paintbrush. Just the one. Vectors. No, I want a paintbrush. Oh, okay, just the one. Excuse me. Well, paint along path. That's my critical deal breaker. That one allows non-destructive workflow, which is one of the best selling points for me. It doesn't look like they have that here, as far as I can tell. Definitely no curvature brush. Yeah, tools are definitely less. But I know they have a bunch of graph properties. I wonder if we could do something with that there, because we have other things we can do. Hello, hello, pup. Just now getting up? Well, welcome. Welcome, welcome. We're doing some testing on how to bake things. It's kind of cool. In InstaMat. We do have effects. What happens if I do this one? Where does it put that? So it sticks it into this. And none of it works. All right. Swirl. Interesting. So we can swirl. I'm assuming this is just swirling on the UV map, though. Which I would like a preview of. Interesting. That's pretty fast, though. Oh, and it is 3D. Am I understanding that right? We can scale, translate. No, it must be on the UV map. That'd be really weird if it was not on the UV map. Has to be. Yeah, because it gets cut off right here. Okay, interesting. I'm not used to having explode my mesh for baking. The match by mesh name feature in Substance Painter has made me lazy, I suppose. I'm assuming XNormal doesn't have that feature. I don't know. It's not a feature I used that much when I was painting in Substance either. Path oriented. Symmetry. We can do symmetry. That's nice. Downloading XNormal right now. I'm going to see what it can do. There are options to use your GPU. I did not touch it, but I believe there are options for GPU baking as well. All right. This layer generates layer data using procedural paint strokes. Use your mouse or tablet pen to perform 3D painting directly on the mesh. Cool. Oh, I'm a dumb. Oh, interesting. That did it per mesh island. Here. Bottom fade. Which is using our ambient occlusion. Oh, gotcha. So this is all the settings just for that ambient occlusion part. Oh, I see. Mesh mask builder. So this is just a saved mesh mask builder. And we all of them have this. Interesting. Gotcha. So if I start playing around with that, I can get different effects. Hello, Arctic. Welcome. Looking how to make a parallelogram in Photopea, and I'm literally still in a video that's 11 years old. Never in my life would I see such an old version of Photoshop. OMG. Ooh, delicious. Direction. This is super interesting. Okay, I would say it has 60 to 70% of the features of Substance Painter. It could do with a bit more, but I think that's pretty reasonable for an alternative. I'm not going to see anything here because it's a full layer. If I went here and added an effect, directional warp, would that warp the whole mask? Interesting. So you do the effects, then you do the masks. But the material itself, I can use a fill. Oh, there's a graph resource. Ah, okay. Okay, graph resource, that could do more stuff than just what we're thinking here. So if I go, let's test that out. So I'm going to delete this. I'm going to make a new layer, multi-channel, and we'll call this graph text. And we'll actually take out everything but the base color, just to keep it real simple. And I'm going to hit graph on here. Graph. I want to make. Ooh. Okay. There's a bunch of graph noises. Patterns, materials. So I could do something like this. Hello, Jacket Nev. Welcome. How does InstaMat compare to SPSD? So it is basically both of those combined, as I understand. I'm really only messing around with the painter side of things right now. But I would say it has about 60 to 80% of the same features. The biggest downside so far is that I have not gotten the baking to work. The baking has crashed every time. So, or for anything I'd actually want to bake. If you bake at like 512, it's fine. If you bake at 4K, always crashes. So I got X Normal here, which is a free program, and it's awesome, actually super great. So I'm going to be using this all the time. But I'm using this to bake my meshes, and then and that kind of got rid of a lot of the issues. Yeah, and now we're just kind of farting around, seeing what we can do. Seeing what we can do. Right now, the projection is triplanar. We have UV, triplanar, or decal. So decal is something we can actually move around. That's cool. Interesting. It would be awesome if they had the cylindrical stuff. But I don't see that. Triplanar, UV, triplanar, or decal. Yeah, because in Painter we have the cylindrical decal, which is awesome. But I still feel that I'm missing out on some of the full functionality here, because there is something about graph projections. So I think I can make my own projectors. Something like that. Graph resource. I want to make a graph. How do I make graphs? File, new, package. Assets. Open resource. I would like to make a resource. Because I saw them doing really, really interesting things on their tutorials. Jack and Nick, nice, good work. Thank you. Much appreciated. It's going pretty well. Excited to see what I'm excited to explore something new. The Substance Painter needs some competition. It's necessary. Okay, I'm going to close this. And we're going to open InstaMat again. For anyone that is interested, I did just open up signups for some VRChat avatar creation classes. So if you're interested, I will share my video. And check it out. Let me know what you think. Paste it right there in chat. But got to do a little promotion right now. So if you're interested, hopefully, if I get this working, this is one of the things we're going to learn. All right. Yeah, create a procedural material or texture asset. I want to make a material this time. Element graph. End pass. The end-pass element graph is not limited in what kind of data can be persisted across the execution boundaries. From mesh data to strings and image buffers, anything is possible. InstaMat is like a sword to take down the dragon that is Adobe. Along with the other Adobe alternatives, we can slay the beast. Be gone, Gilgamesh. Yeah, see, this says it can actually do procedural mesh modeling. So let's just fart around here. PBR, mesh scatter. It's a default. Okay. Sugar One Pie. Just saw the course. Looks interesting. Well, I appreciate you saying that. Appreciate that you saying that. Yeah, if you're interested, definitely feel free to fill out the form. The form is not a commitment. It is just letting me know you're interested, and we can discuss that from there. But yeah, if you'd like to learn how to make avatars, I'd be happy to teach. Excuse me, sorry to burp. Just want to know what's VRChat avatar. What's the difference with normal avatar? So VRChat is a program, like a social virtual reality space, but it's like Roblox or Fortnite Unreal, where you can take custom content and upload it into that space. So the reason I like using VRChat as kind of a foundation is because rather than just like making a character and it's kind of distant from you, in VRChat you can really interact with the piece of art you're making. So yeah, if you're familiar with Roblox, very similar to that. There's differences, of course, but it's a good parallel example. Excuse me. There are actually a lot of nodes here. Point cloud from mesh, fascinating. What you teach will be able to put in Unreal. This class is not specifically designed for Unreal, but the understanding of how to make a character and how to get it into a game engine is certainly something you can transfer over to Unreal. But right now it's focused on VRChat. Maybe in the future I'll have a class that will also include Unreal, but I don't want to say that you would know everything you need to get it into Unreal. I'm not as familiar with Unreal Engine, but again, all the work you would learn in Blender, making a mesh, making textures, rigging a character, making shape keys, things like that, UV unwrapping, all of those things are steps you would need to know anyway to make a model for Unreal. So it's kind of like you do a lot of work in Blender, and then from Blender you can go into any direction. Unity, Unreal, Godot, but it's still, you would still need some sort of creation software like Blender or Maya or something else in order to make the assets and then figure out where you want to put them. So it's a very parallel understanding, but there's nuances to every software. So Unreal is a little different than Unity. Unity is different than Godot. Yeah. Good morning, Jackson Riley. Cool. Welcome. Hello. How long will the courses be open? Oh, sorry, my camera's going out. So I will be doing new courses pretty much every 8 weeks. So basically, it'll be 2 weeks of signups, available signups, and then 6 weeks of me teaching. And then we'll start a new round of classes. But I'm always hoping to have the intro to, and I might switch it to just intro to character creation moving forward. But right now, intro classes for your VR chat avatar creation, an advanced avatar creation, and then I also have mentorship and tutoring available as well, which would be more like one-on-one teaching. But the idea is to have them happen consistently. So we'll just constantly be doing classes. Yeah, that's the hope. That's not the hope. That's the plan. That is what we're going to be doing. So I can get a mesh. That's instant LOD. Generator. Mesh from height. Pattern selection. Property. So we can generate meshes. We can make LODs from them. We can mask certain parts of them. But can I bring in a custom mesh? What is neural? Oh, that's AI stuff. Templates, vectors. Height to normal. See, what I love is I'm just interested to see how far we could push it. Could I make a curve that we could then bring in paint stuff? So this is interesting, but I'm not going to save this one. We're going to go ahead and open up that other type of graph that was here. So new InstaMat project and pass. I have a closest point. Taper tile. Vertex attributes. Okay, very cool. Source mesh assign material. Source. 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 So what happens if I try to bring in a mesh? Let's see. I open this install. Then I have an asset. I have this mesh asset. Okay. So once I have this, I can do things to it. Um, okay, this is probably too much for me to figure out right now. But I think there's stuff that you could do in here. My hope would be that you could bring in a curve object from like Blender and like do just like you do a vector path. You could draw a curve, bring in the curve, and then project a pattern on it. Like for intro avatar creation, does it matter if I have experience in Blender? It would be helpful to have a little bit of knowledge of Blender, just like how to navigate the scene, buttons, but generally I'm going to be starting things from scratch. So for the intro, we start with learning how to model a body, then how to unwrap that, but it does go pretty quick. So if you had some familiarity with Blender, that would help. But the goal will be to teach you as we go along. So this InstaMat looks confusing. So in Substance, you have Substance Painter and Substance Designer. And Designer allows you to procedurally create materials and textures and things like that. In InstaMat, you get both. So you have both Substance Painter, the graphs, and the painting workflow. So I can go back to my my skull here. No need to save that. And we're back in our painting workflow. Yeah, I was just wanting to see if there was a way to do some different kind of projections. You should be able to make a cylindrical projection somehow. I don't know enough about that. Anyway. Yeah, it'd be fun to learn, but I think I'd be getting into the weeds on that one. Yeah, we baked a lot of our textures out in XNormal, and then we've been kind of incorporating it into here. Just kind of playing around, seeing what kind of look and effect we can get. Yeah, a little bit of height to this. Should I mask out my oh, there we go. Yeah, kind of make it crunchy. Make it really wet if I wanted to, but I think dry is a little more fitting. Honestly, I'm just going to stick to Substance programs. It looks too confusing for me. This is the same, really. Like you got your assets on the side, you've got your layers here, the properties for those layers, but it's generally like 80% the same. My goal today is to learn how to slice a model for printing. Hey, let's go. That's exciting. We'll definitely share what you end up printing. We can make a layer. And I drop my masks onto this layer. Cool. And then I put my dirt in there. So that program has the functionalities I need. I'm not entirely sure I'll switch from Substance just yet. That's fair. Ow, my ear. Yeah, I'm hoping there's some upgrades coming for this program. I think it'll do pretty much everything I need it to. Especially with the XNormal. Let's add on the base layer. Make another folder. Oh, cool. This base layer. And here we got the base, but we want a new one of these. I don't know what an element layer is. We'll figure that out in a second. Then we'll add a mask to it. Do a mask, projected mask, triplanar. Do a noise, cellular, fractal, sum. Tile that. And most importantly, we'll give this height. This one, I don't want the base color. Just want that little bumpiness right there. The printing will happen in a week or so. Talking to you about printing made me really think about how and where I'll set my printing station. Just accepting the fact that I'll have to drive across town to my dad's. Fair. I mean, definitely be safe. For our next project, I'm going to at least attempt to texture it without substance. Nice, nice. I like that. There are a lot of other ways to paint in Blender. Like you can do a lot of interesting projection methods in Painter to like layer up your material and then bake out that material. It's pretty interesting. There's a lot more functionality just within Blender itself than I think people realize. Maybe I'll put this above. It's blue. Blurring at all. Downloading BlendKit showed me what you can do with materials if you know how to work with them. The nodes can be a little confusing at first, 100%. I mean, it's basically programming, you know, just a more artistic way to program. This is interesting. Why are we getting this weird pinch? Just up here, though. Should be a triplanar. Oh, maybe it's because that's where it's leveling out. I rotate it just a little. The UVs must be a little messed up there. All right, but I'd say this looks pretty darn good. So this is the base layer. Oh, I see. Or no, I don't see why that. So base layer. Then we've got our dirt right here. Or no, this is the occlusion. Dirt. And then I'd like one more group for heat. And we can delete this. I could do it all in a 2D texturing program like the current character I'm working on, but I really want to really consider that for heavily stylized pixel perfect characters. Yeah, I don't think it's like necessary, but you know, back in the day, that is exactly how everything was made, just but back in the day. Interesting. If I add this should be a curvature mask. And I have it applied in here too. When they didn't have any computers. Substance is fine for me. It's a good program. It's a good program. Hello, Snardom. UV unwrapping humans without computers since the Dark Ages. That just means you're skinning them alive. Thanks for your Let's Go, Frank, on Discord. Huh? I'm extremely proud of my little character. You should be. You should be. Frank's crushing it. Let's do. Let's try it. Okay, so it's just like a smart material. Here. We want to add a mask. Mesh mask. Don't get too addicted to substance. Substance abuse is a real thing. Who's up for some UV unwrapping? There's a book, an author who wrote a book, Murakami. I think it's called Norwegian Wood. There's a guy who skins people alive in it, and it was very memorable. So it was pretty dark. Oh, cool. So the mesh mask, we have all the different options here. Pick mesh and viewport. There we go. The Russian, Mongolian, I'm sorry. Yeah, exactly. Hello, Ori. Look, never use Substance. Looks like a great program, but I just cannot give money to Adobe. They're beyond. I am with you there. Well, I've been exploring using XNormal for my baking maps, and now InstaMat for the painting portion. So that's what we're doing today. Trying to get some exploration done. It's kind of seeing what we can do in here. I used the Steam version. And teeth face, make a new layer, create teeth grooves. And on the teeth grooves, we'll add another mask, projected mask, that we'll use anisotropic. Anisotropic. At a high scale, so we get these grooves. Then we can do the color. I actually don't really need the color to start with. I mean, dark's fine. I'll lower it, but I really want to push in the height. Let's get these normals. These grooves on the teeth. Cool. Yeah, that's what we're messing around with right now. InstaMat. Let's add some ambient occlusion. Still need to get substance designer. Generator. Oh, Bezier curve. Interesting. Okay, I'll have to try that on my next one. So right now I'm looking for... What am I looking for? My ambient occlusion. Ambient occlusion. I guess I have to go here. Why don't I see anything? Let's try that again. Teeth grooves. Oh, I wanted to add new material. On this one, we'll add a mask. Use a projected mask. UV. Ambient occlusion. And we can go ahead and invert the mask. It's funny that it comes in as blue. That's kind of a funny choice. Did a bit of a deep dive on substance alternatives for it the other day. Mari looks like it could be nice, though it's not free. Armor Paint seems like Substance Painter's kid brother, but looks promising. I'm attracted to this one because it's free. And they have a full node graph system, so that's pretty enticing to me. Where did I get that Bezier curve from? Oh, I could have just plopped in the image right there. Gotcha. I'll stick with Blender, so we have all bases covered then. If you were to purchase an alternative subs painter, I believe Marmoset Toolbag would be your next best bet. It has superior baking, but lacks some of the painting and generator tools. Well, honestly, XNormal is really good at baking. Like, frankly, some of the best bake maps I've seen. And it's free. It is very simple and a free program. So when it comes to baking, I feel like I've got that covered now. And it's better than Blender, because Blender's not great. They just don't have enough features, like being able to select, do better selections and stuff. External results looked really good. I just tried it myself. It was really nice. I liked it. I liked it too. I think it's not like it's kind of dumb in the sense like it's not built with going in a certain direction in mind, but in a way that's nice because then you have just a lot of different ways to go. Where was that Bezier curve? I saw it. I saw it. I swear. Let me look that up. InstaMat Bezier. Patterns. I bet it's just 2D. I don't think it's a 3D one. Blender multi-res normals easy mode baking fight me. I had some issues. They tended to give me, I could see the low poly wireframe coming through on the normal math. Good to know, Corn. I'll check that out for baking, AO, and maybe normals. Main focus for me though is good tools and features for painting on the model. Absolutely. This one does seem to be hitting that for me. Because you got decals, you have projections and stuff. Again, not quite as fully featured as Painter, though. Let me actually look up InstaMat. It's lint cylinder. Mesh primitive. No. Pro. Can I not just look at this fucking page, please? Good no crunching. Procreate felt very immature. You could use most of the 2D Procreate tool and brushes, but doesn't have a lot of the tools and support for 3D painting. Also can't find any examples of people's work that have been done in Procreate 3D. Let me hop over to Twitch so I'm not cross-stream posting. Oh, you're fine. I don't mind that. But definitely whatever is comfortable for you. So this is interesting. With the mesh bakes the source mesh onto the target mesh to generate mesh maps used for texture or rendering. Not a simplistic baker, it is the same fully featured baking technology that's available through the InstaMat application. But most importantly, you can bake positions. Nah, I'm too obsessed with that thought. And I do want to, oops, that UV shell. Just add in a projected mask, UV, patterns. Why can't I do this here? I make a new element layer. And I go into it. And I say, let me use graph. Can I use... Can't see anything? I'm confused. Did something break there? I bake normal ZBrush as well. It behaves the same as baking with Multirise and Blender, so the mesh would have to have subdivision levels. We can easily project any mesh onto another while subdividing and capture all the details, so it's a bit more flexible. With Substance, I feel it's easier to manage. Definitely just a comfort thing, you know, what you're familiar with, familiarity. Frankly, the X normals, though, do look better. These sockets baked a lot better than the Substance Painter version. And that's not really thanks to InstaMat. That's just thanks to X normal. That's a little rough right there. Too many ways to do it, and no way is perfect. 100%. There is no such thing as perfection. Pros and cons. You can also convert world obj/tangent space. It's very good. They got a few conversion options there. Height to ambient occlusion, things like that. Oh, excuse me. Where did that Bezier curve go? I saw it. How come I can't get it again? Give me the Bezier curve. Give it to me right now. The Bezier curve. Give it to me. Pick a graph or image. There we go. Okay. Okay, that's what the problem. I had the initial library objects. Okay. Bezier curve. And yeah, like I thought, it is a 2D image we're projecting. Multirise sounds like, hello, non-Euclidean otter, welcome. Multirise sounds like a nice way to manage all that, though. I've always had trouble with baking it. It does sound like the perfect option, but I've never gotten the baking to be what I want. The way I've been doing it before was working a high poly sculpt, then retopologizing using the high poly as a cage to bake normals to the retopologized low poly. I look into it and see about using it. For now, I will stick with Substance. Understandable. Most of the time, if I just need a case, I use a displace modifier for the cage object. Same here. Yeah, managing it with a vertex group. Managing the displacement of the vertex group really gives me the best results. Worst case scenario, a shape key. The only thing I'm missing from next normal is matching my mesh by name. If I can figure out a good way to non-destructively explode my meshes, then it shouldn't be a problem. Let's see. Batch protection. You can just duplicate the collection and explode that. Uses all the same mats. I prefer exploding, then I know what I'm getting. But certainly there's a lot of options. Excuse me. What does stroke mean in this context? Create a geonode, feed it your collection, create the explode duplicate. I agree with that. Lamount, that would be a cool geonode setup. Duplicate, hide, original, explode, bake, cleanup. I was thinking that would be the option for baking in Blender. Because the difficult part about baking in Blender is you have to combine your objects. Like in order to do selected to active baking, that limits you to selecting just the selected and the active. You can't select a collection and another collection. You have to select just those two. And it's rough. I seriously expect, especially with EV Next, we will see new baking add-ons /units. I'm super excited for that. I do think that will probably be the actual substance painter killer, because there's so many people in Blender already, and if people start developing really good baking workflows, I think it'll just supersede everything else. I will look into this to test it out, but how well would this do animatronic models? What do you mean by animatronic? Like a actual 3D printed model? The annoying part about that is I generally keep my high poly outside of Blender, but if I change my workflow a little, I can make it work, I guess. I'm hoping so as well. Non-Euclidean honor. I'm hoping so as well. I do think that it will probably do the best out of most things. All right, let me look this up again. So InstaMat, Bezier curve. Interesting. I've been using the Bezier curve node quite a lot recently. The node is real-time saver and super user-friendly. This person's working on a Bezier curve. How are they doing that? I want that. Show me how. I want that. Give it to me. Glamrock FNAF model Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh, so painting is a universal thing. So there's no difference in how you paint things between a stylized and a high poly model or a realistic model. All that matters is just the aesthetic you give it. But I mean, in a lot of the latest Five Nights at Freddy's, they're definitely using workflows like this to paint them. Like, honestly, the problem isn't even the Substance Painter is the best program. just the one everyone uses. There's hardly any content from the last 5 years made with any competitors, 100%, at least in the educational space. No, I agree 100%. People have really let Painter just kind of, it's been king of the hill with no competition, which is annoying to me. That's Unity. I want the Bezier. Bezier. Points data. So this is taking in a Bezier curve of some kind. And I have the stroke option. What does that do? How do I control this? I feel like there should be more options than just this. Let's try adding it to the base color. Aha! Curve editor. Draw mode. So there is an actual editor here, but this is in this mode. Now, if only this was 3D. And it's been a lousy king. Look at InstaMat as long as it's safe to download. I mean, don't feel pressured to. Uh, it's fun, but again, Substance Painter is a great program. I don't have anything against Substance Painter at all. I think that's a fantastic program. But I cannot do a 3D version, can I? Bezier curve dynamic. How about Bezier curve the other one? Patterns. Bezier curve. Interesting that I can only do it in here. I did not get this editor when I was doing this on the mask. Maybe I had to do a different method. Like if I had just done, selected it, made a mask, projected mask. UV. Isn't this what I did a second ago? I can put it there, but I don't have the same options. Weird. Adobe is the problem. When are they going to add multi-UV set support? I'd love to have one UV for basic texture details, another UV for normal details. They only listen to whatever gives them money. They listen to whatever makes the line go up. I definitely think they're in for a reckoning. Might be a good substitution for Subs Painter as long as it's safe to download. It is safe to download. It's a real company. Yeah, I do love how the bake came out though. I think that looks really good. Muy bueno. Muy bueno. We'll put the dirt above everything. It is free. All right. Now, can I filter if I add an effect to this, like directional mosaic warp? That should affect just the mask, right? Why can't I move that up? Okay. So it's warping what's below. Interesting. So do I have to make a folder and then put the warp in here? No, I can't add an effect to a layer. Do I have to... Huh. But I want to warp this mask. I want to warp this mask. Warp, 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 warp this mask. But maybe there's a way to do that. Edgeware, volume, projected, mesh mask, generator. Projected mask. But if we use this, I can add effects to projected. So maybe I have to do it in here. Slope blur. Okay, that seems to be working. Okay, so rather than making an effect layer, you still make a mask, and then from the mask you can select an effect. So it's a mask effect. All right, that makes more sense. Now we can get some nice crunchy detail on there. Crunchy. And why don't we set it to linear dodge? So we have to keep it. Nice. Oh yeah. All right, well, those look like some crunched teeth. Let's say 0.01. 0.02. 0.05. Oh, I see. That's why it's repeating so much. Because I am using a slope blur, but it's using this stupid input texture instead of a noise. Stupid input texture. There we go. A lot of nice detail there in the bone. It'd be nice to have something a little bit to take out the bumps on the bone. A little bit. So we'll go in here. Which one's this? This is the micro bump. And above this, we'll make another layer. And we'll call this bone wear. And add mask. Mask builder. Curvature. Invert it. Take out the color. You don't need it to be blue. I actually don't like that it always defaults to blue. Installation size of InstaMat big? Honestly, I did not pay attention when I was downloading it, if it was big or not. I don't think so, but I'm not 100% sure. Now I have this. Curvature. I wish there was anything else we could use here. Mode edges, cavities, both. Maybe we will bring back the color. I don't see anything. It's barely here. Okay, so I don't think the curvature is the right way. Curvature is not the right way to go. Let's get rid of the mask. Add a new layer. We'll do projected UV and give it our package curvature. Here. No, I could use the displacement instead. That'll give me a bit more staff. Yeah, like that. And that'll give us our mask. Then I will take out the color. Or, sorry, keep the color. Set it to something like this. There. Use some sort of overlay. Let's go darker. Darker. Oh yeah, that looks really good. Oh yeah. Like that pops out so much of it. Look into it for now. I'll just use Substance till I have time to install it. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. Can I do an alt click? Alt click matched it. Interesting. When I alt click, it matches all. Oh, I see. Alt click, I can do all of them at once. Then turn back on one of them. Cool. Actually, I'll do boneware. Overlay, go to the color again. Just a little bit more color. Like that, where we get kind of that orangey color skulls have. And we'll call this boneware shadow. I'm going to duplicate it and call this boneware highlight. And on this one, we will invert the mask again and switch this to screen. And then adjust our image here until we're just getting the highlights of the bones. Turn down the contrast a little. And then on the highlights here, I would like to actually get rid of all the bump. So rather than using a screen, we will just say default, because I should be able to take out these bumpies. The bumpies. The height. Set to place. Doesn't really seem to be having much of an effect. Because this is the micro bump right here. That's what's giving it this little detail. Which is pretty strong. Let me turn it down. But I want to be able to smooth out parts of it. So when I'm using my mask here, I am able to blend. In Substance, they had an option for replacing. So you would actually just say, okay, I'm going to replace this value. Default doesn't seem to do that. I can see the height changing a little, but it's not getting rid of my little bumps there. About normal. I don't see any effect. Ambient occlusion and roughness aren't going to do anything. Well, maybe ambient occlusion. No. It has to be the height. Need to head off and prepare dinner. Good luck with everything. Thank you, Corn. Thank you for hanging out. We'll catch you tomorrow for Friday. Friday. We're getting there. We are getting there. Ah. Maybe my contrast isn't strong enough. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, okay, because now it's taking it out. Gotcha. Okay, I see. My mask was not actually doing what I thought it was. blur. Right about there. We set this to multiply. I'd rather have screen. Turn down the intensity of this. Or turn down the intensity of the base color. Let me change this. Let's not change though. Has to be here. There we go. And now it's actually smoothing out some of these sections. And I can make them a little glossier because that's how smooth things work. All right. Be nice. Right. And I don't want it to really be pushing or pulling. I just want it to smooth out. Something right about here, I guess. If I turn up that contrast again. I see. Okay, so this is these divots here are actually the normal tangents from the base mask. So if I was to do this again, I would never actually put my bake images in here because I'd want to be able to edit them directly in this area. Yeah. Maybe the ambient occlusion I'd leave in here, but the normals I would take out. Yeah. Okay. Good to know. We're learning. We're learning. Looks pretty good overall, though. Some weird lines right there, but turn our dirt back on. Turn on the dirt. Amazing how it just gives it so much. Moist. It's moist. That's moist dirt. In fact, in here, I'd probably want to also replace this with a noise of some sort. Do grunge. Rampage smudges. Let's try that. That just gives some more micro details inside of the height we're looking at. Smudges, and then again, we could also give it another resource like this grunge smudges. Like so, and then that fills in. But this doesn't work quite as well because obviously it's an odd color. It looks moldy now. Moldy skull. Which is an interesting effect. on its own. But we would like to change the color. So if I had an effect here, or no, we'd want to do this one. Pick from library. I guess color match or gradient. Gradient map's probably the way to go. Wow. Definitely the way to go, but that is intense. Psychedelic skull. We'll do a brown. Wow, that's really kind of cool, honestly. But not where we want to go. I'm kind of loving all of this, though. Okay. Oops, I accidentally made more spots. I can't drag it out like that. Or there's always an edge one. Funny. Allows to color pick from gradients from the screen. Perfect. We'll look up dirt images. And I'm just going to take this and we'll drag. I think something like this would be fine. Convert. Okay, try that again. Convert. That's annoying. I don't understand. Why can't I do that? In order to find more than 16 stops, its gradient must be converted to a dynamic counterpart. Cancel. So I don't want that many. Just would like literally 2. There we go. Okay, so you have to do a really small gradient. Like a really tiny gradient. Oh, that's pretty cool though. I mean, that certainly looks dirty. Dirty skull. Dirty. All right, I actually do think that the layer setup here is simpler than Substance Painter. How you can build layers up, build the noise and detail up is simpler because I find with Substance Painter, I'm always making more masks. And in here, you don't necessarily need to do that as much. This actually just works pretty nicely right away. That's good. I'll add another one of these. We'll do levels. Gonna push the colors down, I think. There. Feels a lot easier to get like micro details in. Do a big shape, and then you go in and you can add a little bit more noise to it. In fact, I will do one more layer of noise in the roughness. Can I link these? Can I link my layer here? Graph resources smudges. Instead of a solid color, graph resource to be generate. That's what I'm doing. Smudges.output. Can I copy that? Sure. Cool. Really enjoying this, honestly. It's working pretty well. There's a few things that Substance has that I've always thought were really cool, which are anchor points. So can I do something like anchor point? View output for kernel channel. View output, view composite. Solo layer and viewport, no. If I want to do an anchor point, something like that. Mesh ID to mask. Add generator, add filter. Okay. So I don't think they have a mask like this. Can you make normals have AO with anchor points in Substance? Yes. Yes. Well, as long as they have a transparency. So you would need to be able to extract the edge, right? The boundary of your normal. They might have a normal to AO filter too. Normal to ambient occlusion filter. Yes, sorry, I was mentioning Substance there. I was not talking about InstaMat. So I don't think InstaMat has anchor points, which is a bit of a bummer. Bit of a bummer there. But I'm kind of curious, when we look at this here, this is a material unto itself. Can I reference this material in another material? So if I was to make rename, regenerate, file, new package, no, file, open recent package, skull, save. All right, so this is an asset. I want a new asset. New layer group, new layer, that's fine. Here. Actually, interesting. When I first opened that, it's this. There's nothing here yet. So if I make a new layer, nothing happens because I'm not in this object yet. Fascinating. Okay. There must be a way for me to make a new asset and and bring it in. I go here, go to packages, select a package from the list to inspect it. Finishes here. How can I make a new one? In InstaMat, we just have this whole file which contains all these packages. Is there something similar like that in this program? Because AO won't interact with normals without anchor points. I don't know yet. I don't know yet. Export cooked project. What a funny name. Cooked instead of save package, package this, package that. I want a new material. Creates a new project in the currently opened package. Oh, I see. Okay. New workflows. Okay. This is what I was looking for earlier. But I can create a new interesting. Material layering. I think I want this one. Yeah, because that's what I have here. So we'll call this skull material import. And we'll use our skull. Package resource skull. Create project without template. Now we have a new one. We have these two packages, skull material import and skull. But if I'm looking at this here, can I bring in my skull? Interesting. It's a little different because I'm referencing layers that don't exist. Okay, so that's not quite what I was hoping for. I was hoping more for like a linked reference, yeah, like an anchor point. That would have been useful. Sorry. Um, just looking at a text message there. All right, so skull. Now there's one other option I have here, which is I can select my stuff. Prefab material, layer material. Let's just say dirt. We'll do add to library as prefab material. If I go back to my skull import, I should be able to make a skull. Search everywhere. No. Dirt, actually, is what I should search. Search. This is the one I made. I think so. This is the one I just made here. Yep. Dirt.imp. So what happens when I bring that in? So I could make my masks that I want to reference on one layer, but I might as well just make one image. I might as well just make an image that is my mask, bake that out, and then bring it back in so I can play with it and tweak with it. And then if I need to update them, I just update that image. Okay. That'll be how we do anchor points. Or something like anchor points. Like, for example, if I had a dot on the forehead, I could make one skull to bake out a texture with that singular dot, and then use my main material to reference that. So we'd have like a mask skull that I'm making my masks from. So let's actually try that. So go in here, I'm going to rename this skull. Like this. Save. And then delete that. We'll make a new layer. Sure, I'll do brush. Not an element brush, just a brush. Sure, multi-channel. Now, is this specific to my project or the skull? Let me... I can't get rid of these, so I'm assuming this must be project-based. If I delete this one, does that delete it from my other one? No. Okay, so these are per. Okay, good. That's actually good because I would like to get rid of all of them except base color. So I'll make linear and do like that, because this way my mask layer is just giving me one channel to work with, and that's all I care about. I just want the black and white mask. All right, and then we'll add mask. Mask painting. And I'm just going to give it a dot on the forehead. I'll actually do. some symmetry there. All right, so we make this mask on this side. Cool. Now I can add to library as layer material. All right, so if I go back to my other skull, and we'll make a new layer, a new element here. This. And give it a mask. And the mask will do projected based on UVs, and the UV projected what we want to do is the thing we just made, that material, layer material. This one. Whoa. Um, don't think I wanted all this though. Just wanted that one layer, that one. Let's go back to the other one, skull masks. Rename this to third eye mask. Right, that's the one we want. Then back to our main file. And then I want to access that. I go here. Boom, 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 boom. New multi-channel layer. Okay. That is gone now, which means that when I added it, it's not a direct reference. I add it once. I add this once to everything. Okay. Okay. Wait, did I undo my third eye? Third. We'll call this third eye. Okay. We're gonna do one more thing. We're gonna try making a new project. We'll try an element graph first. And what I would like to do, we'll call this third eye graph. Experiment didn't work. No, not really. We're just trying to figure it out still. But no, that's not how that works. Third eye. Can I take this in here? We can get the mesh mask. Or, oh, here we go, here we go. We can reference the base color right there. Okay, so we're taking from our skull mask, using this graph, we're taking from the skull mask its base color, which means that in here, oops. Yeah, well, no wonder I couldn't reference it, but anchor test that here on our mask, can I sample that third eye graph? I believe I can. Oh. Can I just drag this in here? Oh, okay, okay, okay. Fascinating. It looks really messed up for some reason. I thought I was referencing the right skull, but it's doing a triplanar projection? No, just do a UV projection. Hey, there we go. Okay, so now we can do that, because then I'm on my skull. I'm on my skull. I don't know why the dirt's so strong now, but oh, I see. It's because this is not a mask. This is a graph. But here I have the graph resource referenced. Oh. Okay. So that means I should be able to pull this into a mask. Third eye graph output. So let me get rid of this one more time. Turn back on this blue. Go to the mask. Image. Definitely had it. Definitely had it. Just need to know how to search for it properly. I was able to drag it. Can I just drag it into the mask? Here, base color. I'm taking the graph output. So I should be able to do a graph output. Can do MPEG. Hello, welcome. Welcome, welcome. How's your day going? Well, good. We're messing around with something called InstaMat. Trying to figure it out right now. I can reference the whole material. I don't really want to do that. I don't want to reference the whole material. It says I can select a graph. Why can't I use this graph? Output. Here, got our graph. How do I change the input? Change variable type to, here we go. Just a float. Or no. Maybe gray scale, color to grayscale. And then it converts it back to color. All right, so not that. The question, will you be able to have normals to reference the AO in this program too? I'm not, you don't need normals to create ambient occlusion, but in terms of referencing things, that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. Mesh mask, that might be better, but I want to be able to take the base color and get an output. I have this here. Color space linear. And then I'll do a convert scale. Oops. Grayscale too. Go to grayscale, because this should go here. It wants to convert it really bad, but it doesn't need to. Oh, I'm selecting that. Can you make request VR chat avatars? Or are you asking, can I make you VR chat avatars? Element image. Element image gray. Okay, now we have a grayscale output. Don't know if that'll make a difference, but skull. Can I reference it now? Weird. I know that I can pull it over. Don't play VR chat, but I just want to know if you can make a request for someone. Just wondering. Gotcha. I do commissions, so if you're interested in commissioning me, absolutely. Let's delete this. All right, one more. Let's look at our mask really quick. Mesh projected mask. Baby shell volume. Builder. Mesh mask. It has to be the projected one. We're projecting it from the UVs. And I want to reference the graph. Can I drop the graph in here? No, it wants to go here. But I should be able to grab it. Select a graph. It's a graph. I want a graph. Give me the graph. We did it. Fucking did it. Let's go. Okay, so now we can actually do anchor points. Now we can do anchor points. And let's see. It doesn't seem to be working quite right. But now we do, again, we do have the actual third eye anchor. If I go back to my skull mask, this is what we're using right here. I would have expected it to be a little bit stronger, but perhaps because we're using the base color, it's not actually black on the bottom. It's not actually black. So let's make sure it is. Yeah, that looks a lot darker. Go back to skull now. Yes. Yes. Now what's cool too is I can paint it out. I can change it on the mask layer. It'll come in changed, or I can change it on this layer. So if I did a excuse me. Projected mask, UV, we add one of the effects like fractal warp. Should be able to actually warp this. Or maybe better yet, a better example would be a bevel, if we can get that in there. So we use the bevel. Why is it cutting off there? Ah, input image. Third. Go. Just that distance outward. Oops. And I could set this to subtract or something. Or inverse subtract, add subtract. Divide. Actually, yes, subtract should work pretty well. That doesn't matter though, because I'm referencing it twice, so I can just put this above it. Set this one to default. Sorry, set the, and then this one to subtract. There we go. And that's how we could get some, like an outline. Okay, good. So we can do everything in Substance that we want to do. Good. Good stuff. Okay. Very good to learn. It's actually a little better. It is a little bit better. Because now we can, anytime we want to change that, we can go back here, go to our painting, we can add more stuff. Something like that. Back to skull. Yeah. Cool. And of course we could do something. Make it black. Push it in. Take the roughness. Turn down the subtract. Cool. Now we can do stuff that's actually useful. It's a little weird to be doing it on this other layer, but I guess I can I split this view? I go between the graph and this. Can I split my view at all? It's not. Scooping around, seeing what happens. Awesome. And then I could duplicate this. Take out the it's the bevel, right? Yeah. We could make a folder. Let's go in here. Yeah, we want to do folder. Anyway, fun stuff. That's all we would need to actually start making some anchor points. All right, very cool. Very scary looking. But satisfying. I think with that, that would be everything I need for this. Excuse me. And then for the Bezier curve, like if I needed to project something onto the mesh, I'd probably just make a 3D model and bake the texture on to it. No. Yeah, I think that would work just fine. It's better to just lean on that in the baking process or make a mask, a bake mask for a specific effect. Okay, cool. Instamat's turning out to be pretty good. Definitely some workarounds that I don't think need to be here. I prefer not to be here, but it's viable at the very least. It's a viable alternative. Just don't want the preview. Thank you. And again, I can always add another mask. Go in, add an effect. Slope blur. What about normals being referenced from maps like AO? Is that plausible or no? I think you'd have to bake out the edge. So in the graph that I made, and this is how I'm pasting things, as long as you're able to, in this graph, extract whatever you want, so you can do like a mesh mask or the transparency or something, that's probably how you would get it out. Because you could, on one layer, add the normals like this. Yeah, make your mask whatever you want. And then in your graph, transfer them out and bring them into your actual, where you actually want them. Because I have them all selected. Interesting. Good to know. Takes some getting used to, though, that's for sure. Yeah, I think I should have done all of this in a folder. That would have made it a lot easier. Anyway. Hello, Ray. Welcome. But yeah, through these graphs, what's super interesting about this compared to Substance Painter is that you can make on one version a mask. So you can go, this is my input image. Then you can take that whole mask that you made and feed it into a graph. And through this graph, you can do pretty much endless amount of stuff. Say distort or noise. I don't know. Some sort of edge detection. So you can take your mask and get the edges out. A little hard to see. Oh, there we go. Don't know what the factor's doing there, but zero, really? I'd like to see all graphs, please. Can I have like a view of graphs? View of nodes? Node view? That would be nice. I guess here. Do any of these work? Yeah, we can do bevel here. So we could perform operations on whatever we're going to feed into the end result. That doesn't look too different. Should look a little different. Because we're feeding in the mask. Delete this. Oh, I see. Delete this. Delete. It's back on. Okay, yeah. This is what we're actually working with right here. Fascinating. But that's going to allow for a lot of very procedural ways to work. Because you can, rather than perform like making a series of layers, you can extract whatever you want out to it, do all these operations on it, and then send it back in. Very fascinating stuff. Even flood fill, that's super useful. That's actually really useful. You get scatter, fractal warp. We did this here. It looks really bad. Why does it look bad? Threshold, I suppose. Oh, it's gotcha. Fractal means that it's duplicating it a bunch. It's not just a warp. Slope blur here. We would need a height image, so some sort of noise. Do Perlin noise. And then on the slope blur, we can scale this one. Change that right about there. And change our intensity. Sample count. I like it a little bit low. It gets weird. Interesting that, what is it referencing? This mesh? Why is it referencing a mesh? No need for a mesh. Oh, mesh Perlin noise. So can I just have a Perlin noise? Yeah, okay, there we go. Fascinating. Does it have any decals you can stick onto the model already in the program? They do have some decal things right here. So far, I haven't messed around with them too much, but let's see. If I take this out, drop it here. Flower daisy. So we can shrink it, move it around. We have this triplanar, but we can set it to decal projection. Interesting. Depth fade. Normal follow. Softness. But that's there. This is a layer projection. I should be able to also make a layer, add a mask, and then set this to decal. Then I can use whatever image I want. Yeah, just pick a different image. I'll leave it there. Where did my graph go? Graph's gone. There we go. I have it here. I have the Perlin noise group selected. I don't see the graph at all. It says I'm grabbing it. I just save and close it. Reopen it really quick. That seems like a bug. Does this program have pre-made decals like normal decals you slap on a model like in Substance? They have a few, but it seems a little limited. You can always make your own in Blender. Just make a little bolt and render it out. There we go. Funny. I wonder why. I must have zoomed so far out that I couldn't see it anymore or something. Oh, funny. All right, slope blur. And then we'll do warp. Different noise. Do a Verone. Verone. Of course, it does a mesh Verone. I just want a Verone noise. Classic, please. Not a mesh. Interesting. Super interesting. Just a smushed old blob there. It's like a little crocodile's skin. All right, well, pushing this around like this is totally useless. But it's interesting to see what you can do. Okay, I think we're gonna call it right here. Today's only a half day for me because I'm gonna go and do some other stuff today. And take a little break from the computer. But I think we made a lot of good progress in figuring out how to use this program, because it will be useful as a Substance Painter alternative. Certainly, there's a lot more to learn. I'm thinking that this will genuinely be one of the more difficult softwares to master, because there are a lot more options. There truly are a lot more options than the other stuff. K-Safe, have fun, have a nice break. I will. Thank you all. I hope everyone's having an amazing, amazing Thursday. Wow, I can't believe it's Thursday already. But I will be back tomorrow. We're gonna do another full day of work. Probably still mess around with InstaMat, because I need to understand how to texture without Substance. So, but thank you all for hanging out. Hope everyone has a great rest of their day. And I'll see you all very, very soon. Goodbye, everyone. Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye.